Hey guys, there's gonna be no, where is it at? There. There's gonna be no bike content this week because I have no power in this apartment, which means I have no way to charge my bike. And the reason why that is because there was a freaking hurricane that hit Houston. There's like 2 million outages right now. We're not gonna go on a bike, but I still wanna make a video about something that I might take with me while I'm riding on a bike. I'll explain here in a sec. I'm gonna go pack up all my kiddo's stuff in this disaster of a room that he has, head to the airport, and we're gonna be going to Wisconsin to go see my mom, his grandma. And yeah, we're gonna spend a couple weeks out there, take a little break from Texas. I was actually born and raised right here in Racine, Wisconsin. This city, there's not a lot of people with money here. We're all struggling. Just the basic things, you know when you remember when you were 16 years old and you got your first car? Yeah, I don't. My mom couldn't afford it. A lot of my friends couldn't afford it. I would see stuff on TV when I was younger, palm trees and the beach and all these things. I'm like, dude, that's a dream. I'll never be able to see anything like that. I'm over here and stuck in Wisconsin. I'm so glad that I experienced this growing up, because now when I'm in Houston or California or anywhere else in the world, I'm like, dang, there are some beautiful places out there. And even in those places in California or Texas, there's people complaining about how crappy it is and they want to move out, but it's like, but you haven't lived in the Midwest. But there are a lot of upsides about living in Racine and in the Midwest. One specifically, we do have a beach here. There's a Lake Michigan about 5 minutes that way. We have Milwaukee just 20 minutes away from here, 45 to an hour away from Chicago. So we do have some things, you just gotta drive for them. And it's not like a big city where you have to hop in a car, jump on a highway, drive 45 minutes to get to the other side. You can get from one side of Racine to the other side in less than 20 minutes. I could walk to my grandma's house. I could walk to my best friend's house. I could walk anywhere that I needed to go in the city. So I didn't really need a car, and all of my family was close. I didn't realize like how fortunate that was until I moved outside and I went to a bigger city. I'm like, dang, I gotta drive everywhere. And even though I didn't have a lot of physical things, my mom always made me feel like I had everything. From 4 years old all the way through high school, she put me in sports, always showed up for me. And besides sports, I was really big into video games a ton when I was a kid. I mean, I played 64, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3. Man, I had a Gameboy Advance. I used to be religious. Like, I was one of those people that used to stand outside GameStop late at night waiting for them to release like the newest Call of Duty game. But I got older, joined the Navy, and just really drifted away from video games. And then I bought a PS5, and it's been sitting on the shelf for like a year now, not getting any use. And I don't know, games just aren't the same as they were when I was a kid. Maybe because they're more difficult or more complex, and I don't know, I just haven't found that drawback into games like when I was younger. And that was until recently when I picked up a new game console that might be pulling me back in again. And it's definitely reignited the fun that I used to have when I was a kid. And I've been playing that thing religiously for like the last couple of weeks. Oh, and PSA, this, my childhood home, and every time I see my childhood home, it just brings me back. I mean, I used to cut this lady's grass. One of my good friends lived across the street. I used to hang out in his basement. I remember when this tree at this neighbor's house was planted. Like, this is where I'm from. This is the beginning. This is where it all started. But anywho, back to the game console. Here it is, inside this small little case. The new Game Boy. Well, that's what I'm calling it, but really it's called an R36S. They really need to come out with a better name for this thing. And this was made in China. It has a 3500 milliamp battery. I will say that from gameplay, it gives me a couple hours of use before it starts talking through this little speaker, and it'll tell you low battery. This console came preloaded with thousands of games, and I actually deleted all of them and then reloaded in my favorites so I didn't have to search through the huge list of games to try to find what I wanted. So here we have our N64, Gameboy Advance, Nintendo DS, Genesis, PlayStation 1, PSP. But yeah, the UI is pretty simple. It's easy to navigate. And when you want to play a game like Crash Bandicoot, for example, this is one of the only games I have on here. Crash Bandicoot and Tony Hawk. You have your list of games here. Let's load in. And I will say that it almost feels unreal that this is even possible. Here we are, playing some Crash Bandicoot. Now this brings me back to my childhood. This is what games were like back in the day. So if there's any 90s babies out there, you guys will appreciate this for sure. But not all the games run perfectly. I've noticed that some of the 64 games will glitch out, and maybe it's just the game file that's loaded on here. And so I'll try to find the DS version of it and then play it on the DS, because I've noticed that the DS games have been running a little bit better than the 64 games. Again, that could just be the file, but let's just go into one. I deleted most of them. Like, we already have like this weird block thing. It's not loading properly. Hit start. Like it was already kind of stuttering there. I'm a little concerned. You can notice it's kind of glitching out just a little bit. Enough to where I just missed that. And you see it's kind of like bugging out here in the corner, where partially the display is like not working properly. So 64 isn't the greatest, but let me show you the DS version so you can see kind of what I mean. We could play some Mario Kart. And if you remember, DSs have two screens, so you can actually toggle using the buttons on the back to look at both screens or one screen. Just like the good old days. And as you can see, the DS game runs perfectly smooth. Graphics aren't amazing, but for what this is, it doesn't bother me at all. But I'll say, even though I can play DS, 64, PlayStation, PSP games, I've almost been exclusively playing Pokemon. People have come up with custom Pokemon games, and so I've been hooked on Pokemon Unbound. This is like a completely new storyline to the classic games. Bunch of new characters in here. It's so cool to play an old game that you probably spent hours playing, but a newer version. And Pokemon is excellent on the R36S. Like I said, I mean, it doesn't really take a whole lot of power to run it, but super, super fun. Oh my gosh. See ya. And speaking of Pokemon, Michael has entered his Pokemon card era, which is crazy because it's something that I did as a kid, but then kind of lost interest along the way. And so I bought him a box so he can launch his collection. And there's so many new Pokemons that I'm like, dude, I don't even know anything about this. So I started researching, and they have this collection called Pokemon 151, which are the original Pokemon characters. And I'm like, ooh, let's get one of those boxes.
Okay, guys, today we're opening the 151 Mew box that came out a few months ago. We have a Venusaur and a Charizard. We just need a Blastoise. Why is the 151 Mew box so... Oh! Jesus Christ!
Jesus Christ. All right.
Oh my gosh, this 151 Mew box is humongous. Oh gosh.
Look, this one fell down. It's metal.
Yeah. This thing's metal.
I've never seen a metal card before.
Guys, Guys, we just got a middle.
And these are our first ever Mew and Mewtwo, right?
Yeah.
So when we open the packs, do you want to do it how the streamers do, where you're opening it in front of the camera? War Turtle.
Yeah!
Special artwork. Ninetales. Wow.
Ooh,
Is that a gold card?
it is.
Mewtwo. So yeah, if you're out there and you're into Pokemon, I'm still trying to educate myself into it. So if you know what kind of packs I should be collecting or what I should be looking out for, let me know, because I guess I'll be starting a Pokemon collection. But yeah, that was all that we had for you guys this week. I will see y'all next week. Like the YouTubers. Boom, boom, boom.